Welcome to another edition of the Market Review. It's a brand new week, December 28, 2020, Monday morning. Today we take a look at the equities market and bring to you some of the key developments that occurred in the market for the year 2020, an eventful one. But let's begin by giving you an outline of what we'll be discussing today. First, the review of previous week's equities market performance, a snapshot of that, Proshare research analysis on the equities market. We'll bring you the international coordinating regulatory body for all commissions that regulate the markets, their statement on retail investor education on crypto assets, and of course a review of some of the key equity market activities in the year 2020. Investors gained 1.04 trillion naira week on week as the NSE ASI inched up by 5.42% to close last week positive. The equities market closed on a negative note as the NCSI depreciated by minus 0.01% to close at 38,800.01 basis points as against plus 2.40% appreciation recorded previously. The year-to-date returns stands at plus 44.55%. From the Proshare analysis, the Nigerian bourse sustained the bullish momentum last week and activity in the market improved last week as investors took a position in some tier 1 banks, MTN with a sustained interest in Dangote Cement plus 16.95%, which was the primary driver of the performance of the border index during the week because they had large cap stocks. Activity in the market was shallow last week Friday as investors anticipated the Christmas break. NSE ASI advanced further by plus 5.42% to close above the 38,000 basis point mark, while market capitalization advanced by 1.04 trillion naira, what you call the Christmas rally. So year-to-date return on market capitalization stands at plus 44.55% and 20.28 trillion naira, respectively, week on week. Huge capitalization, if you ask me. A total turnover of 2.76 billion naira shares worth 40.34 billion naira in 17,459 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The volume of stocks traded declined by minus 8.59%, while value advanced by plus 82.58%. The most traded stocks by volume were Access Bank, Zenith Bank, and Mansard Insurance, accounting for 1.44 billion shares worth 13.8 billion naira in 2,972 deals. They contributed 52.23% and 34.44% to total equity turnover volume and value respectively. Performance across sectors was broadly positive for the week. NSE Industry Index was the highest advancer for the week with an increase of plus 12.05%. The NSE 30, NSE Oil and Gas, and NSE Insurance advanced the week by plus 4.75%, plus 1.88%, and plus 6.01% respectively. NSE Banking recorded the highest decline with minus 1.03% week on week. Market breadth was positive for the week with 35 gainers led by FTM Cocoa Processors and Japan Oil as against 18 losers led by Trans Express and John Holt. The International Organization of Securities and Commissions, IOSCO, the board recently published on December 22, 2020, a report that seeks to help regulators inform retail investors about the risk and characteristics of crypto assets. Crypto assets carry risk that retail investors may not fully understand, increasing the chances of losing on investments in these assets. The IOSCO report titled Investor Education on Crypto Assets captures developments in the space and what retail investors need to understand and take note of, which is very important at this time. It identifies an array of possible risks to investors, including such things as lack of market liquidity, volatility, partial or total loss of the invested amount, insufficient information disclosure, and fraud. The report describes methods that regulators can use to provide educational material to retail investors on the risk of investing in crypto assets and offers 4 areas of guidance covering the following activities: developing educational content about crypto assets, informing the public about unlicensed or fraudulent firms, using a variety of communication channels to inform investors, and forming partnerships to develop and disseminate education materials. In recent years, IOSCO members have expressed concerns about the use of crypto assets in areas ranging from trading, custody, clearing and settlement, accounting, valuation, intermediation, and investment funds. In response, the IOSCO board identified crypto assets as one of its top work priorities for 2019 and 2020. So there's increasing need for this retail investor education on crypto assets because 2021 will definitely show more activities in that space. It was an eventful year, 2020, in the equities market space. So we take out this time to just bring you some of those developments that occurred in the markets. First, the leadership that the Nigerian Stock Exchange management provided in the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic. In March 2020, when the pandemic was declared, it was a very huge concern, but the Nigerian Stock Exchange rolled out its business continuity plan, which it deployed to its technology platforms and engines to ensure that trading moved on seamlessly, and this was the case throughout. The Nigerian Stock Exchange continued to ensure that there was trading and there was no glitch or disruption at any point, and that is something that once again reshaped how technology is shaping market activities, and that again showed how very strategic and dynamic the leadership was in embracing the shift and transition to technology and virtual engagements. In the course of this year, amidst the pandemic and other developments, one interesting activity or trend that occurred this year was the fact that domestic portfolio investors increased their activities in 2020, dominating the foreign portfolio investors. You rarely see this happen. Prior to this time, the foreign portfolio investors always dominate activities in the equities market. But as the last report in October, domestic investors accounted for 51% of trading activities, while the foreign investors accounted for 49%, which is a very positive shift, showing that domestic investors believe a lot in the market and can do a lot to transform and turn around things in the markets. The Nigerian Stock Exchange, understanding the role of fintech firms, provided guidelines in the year for capital market operators as a partner with fintech firms. This was designed around looking at products and technology and innovation, particularly with the focus of reaching out to millennials and also improving participation for retail investors. So this was a very interesting guideline it provided, and capital market operators have explored the opportunities and continue to engage in that regard. That was one major development that occurred in the equities market as it involves Nigerian Stock Exchange. But November 12, 2020, Thursday, would not be a date forgotten for this year. The Nigerian Stock Exchange specifically announced that a market-wide circuit breaker kicked in. Now, circuit breakers occurs when the Nigerian NSE, that's Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index, goes beyond the set threshold of 5%. In this case, it triggered a 30-minute trading halt of all stocks. This was the first time the circuit breaker had kicked in since its introduction in 2016, just to show you that it was a very significant moment in the equities market, that date where the circuit breaker kicked in, and of course, it was something that the investment community and all market operators followed closely. Talking about innovation and improving market activities, the Nigerian Stock Exchange launched the XPO, an online platform for the subscription of the public offerings. This was launched December 18, 2020, following the no objection letter received from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The XPO is the first end-to-end outline public offerings platform in sub-Saharan Africa. It's designed to enhance the experience of stakeholders in the public offerings value chain by providing a smarter and efficient way to manage public offers, in the Nigerian capital market. That was part of the innovation that the Nigerian Stock Exchange brought just to improve public offerings in the market. So definitely XPO should trigger more activities as we look into 2021. Talk about the Growth Board. That Growth Board initiative is a welcome development designed to encourage companies, private sector to come on board and list and deepen their market activity and cost liquidity in the market. The Nigerian Stock Exchange in this year announced the migration of Chalarams PLC, Living Trust Mortgage Bank, and McNichols PLC and the Initiates PLC from the Alternative Securities Market, SM, to the growth board. This, of course, helped to boost activities in the Associated Growth Board Index and on November 30th, 2020, which was a Monday. This migration followed the receipt of applications from the companies requesting to be migrated from ASM. The subsequent screening and approval by a National Council of the Exchange made that happen. And this again showed how the Nigerian Stock Exchange is trying to reposition activities and drive a very robust market. Of course, we're seeing the good board taking effect, and of course, we hope to see much activities in that space as we enter 2021. One interesting thing, like I said earlier, leadership by the Nigerian Stock Exchange during the pandemic, trading went on, no glitch, no one day off trading. The Nigerian Stock Exchange knew that, yes, the pandemic was there. We had to limit physical gatherings. We had to sustain the social distancing and ensure that we mitigate the risk of spreading the COVID-19 virus. But that did not stop the activities in the markets. So the Nigerian Stock Exchange leveraged the digital platforms to host virtual closing gong ceremonies and facts behind the figures featuring quoted companies. So various companies came on board to share activities in the market, from Dangote Cement to MTN. Various of these companies came on board, discussed the activities. Ikeja Hotels PLC, they came on board to share their plans. Even Lafarge Africa PLC, they all had the opportunity through the virtual platform to share their strategies and activities. So while you had the pandemic and while you thought, oh, maybe we won't be having this happening, NSE leveraged a virtual platform and it continued and was interactive. Again, showing how the markets in Nigeria are embracing technology robustly and showing how they can be very innovative. I think it is one thing that you give to the Nigerian capital market operators, from Nigerian Stock Exchange to the FMDQ to the NSD, even down to the FX and other exchange players, is the value they brought leveraging technology, sustaining market activities and interaction. So while the pandemic came, they continued leveraging technology. And that's one positive we can take from 2020. In the year, the 59th annual general meeting of the Nigerian Stock Exchange held, and of course, members of the Nigerian Stock Exchange voted overwhelmingly to take that next big move to support the listing of the Nigerian Exchange Group, NGXJ, on the Nigerian Exchange Limited. So once the mutualization of the NSE is completed, we're going to see the listing of the Nigerian Exchange Group, and that will be a very interesting trend, and we're looking forward to that, all things being equal, in 2021. That should be one big development, to watch the listing of the Nigeria Exchange Group. The Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, of course, the institute that coordinates and regulates activities of stockbrokers, market operators, hosted its 24th summit. It was virtual. It was a very virtual summit with very limited physical meetings. So a bit of hybrid, if you put it that way, physical meeting. The stakeholders called for leveraging the capital market to achieve Nigeria's growth and sustainability. They said without the capital market, this whole thing of sustainability in Nigeria's economy will still be a mirage. And so they had this team navigating through the storms, re-energizing the Nigerian economy space through the markets. So this was a very strategic summit, had key stakeholders discussing how Nigeria can reinvent itself as a market and also leverage a capital market. It had various stakeholders, the legislators, the chairman of the House Committee, the Senate Committee on Capital Markets, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, and of course the House Committee chairman on Capital Markets, Honorable Babangida Umar. They both agreed that the legislation's levels must continue to support the capital market to grow and support Nigeria's economic development, while the market operators committed to strengthening the various ecosystem. Apex Regulator Security Exchange Commission also committed to ensuring that the regulatory space will allow for more activities that would cause the market to grow and also improve its activity to accommodate more retail investors and also boost confidence generally. But equities market is reflective of what happens in the economy. We had a challenging economic phase, the recession, which of course is still effect after the third quarter 2020 report from National Bureau of Statistics. We also found that in the first quarter of the year, according to Nigerian capital importation reports, we had more activity from the foreign portfolio investors, but that declined in second and third quarter. So yes, the domestic investors have come on board and are really taking effect, making their self-known in the market, which is a good one. And we've seen also a very interesting step by the Nigerian Stock Exchange to support sustainability, issuing its sustainability report and encouraging all quoted companies to continue to engage market stakeholders on the sustainability reports. In a major sense, the equities market has really weathered and gone through this phase. We've seen innovation, technology help to sustain market activities. And we're also seeing the fact that the Nigerian Stock Exchange is also facing for that demutualization. But in all, the capital market operators would also be receiving a lot of commendation for their resilience. They all work tirelessly, leveraging technology to ensure that the market continued to carry out activities and fester. Also, the various trade groups continue to reach out to ensure that the market was up and doing and would all receive commendations in that regard. What we really want to see more is the market surveillance, the zero tolerance for infractions, which of course the Securities Exchange Commission has a top priority for, and which the Nigerian Stock Exchange is also giving top priority. And of course, like a lot of people have said, we need to see more primary market activities, and we hope that companies will come on board to list more, leveraging the opportunities in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. But in a very important note, the major learning points from this year from the market is technology must continue to receive that top priority in terms of innovation, leveraging it for virtual and digital platform engagement, connecting more with millennials and retail investors, and also ensuring that all market stakeholders are carried along in every development that occurs. But the most important of all is the need for strengthening cybersecurity. As we've seen across board that this year several institutions across the globe face some cybersecurity concerns. And so that will be some very key measure that the exchange should strengthen. And this was part of the key issues discussed at its fifth market data workshop, where it's looking at strengthening its digital platforms to ensuring that it can carry out robust dynamic market activities. So in all, it's been a very eventful year for the equities market. We'll still give you further updates as we know that it's customary for the Nigerian Stock Exchange to give a review of the market and outlook for 2021, which of course we hope to cover and bring to you in subsequent editions. But in all, it has been a very eventful year, a lot of learning points from the circuit breaker to technology to the demutualization drive, which is in progress, and the innovations like the XPO and other innovations that have come up in the year. We just hope that with migration of some companies to the Growth Board, that will also encourage other mid-size and level of companies to come on board and explore the opportunities in the market. From the Proshare annual monthly report, we've seen that the NSE capitalization in the last 2 months were tops in terms of the share of the market size. And this may continue even into December, but we'll continue to monitor that trend. But that just wraps up how the equities market has evolved this year. Domestic investors dominating the activity. That is an interesting narrative to wrap up the year 2020, that indeed is no longer dominating, the trading is not dominated by foreign portfolio investors, but now the domestic investors are coming on board. And that is something we'll continue to monitor. That will be all for today's edition of the Market Review. You can visit our website, www.proshareng.com, to watch our videos and read our stories around the equities market and all the developments that have occurred this year. Proshare, to the analysts, If you check us on the analyst Twitter, we have complete and consistent coverage of what's happening in the markets. As you all know, today is a public holiday, part of the Christmas and Boxing Day celebration. So market activities are not really up for today, but of course, market will resume tomorrow. Send your views and comments on what you think has really shaped the equities markets in 2020. You can send it to news@proshare.com. We'll be willing to receive them, respond to them appropriately. Till we come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe.